Hi, welcome to Dice Control Dojo. I'm Phil and I practice every day and share my tips so we can all get better at the casino. Day 13, 13 days to go to our casino trip. The team and I getting excited, getting ready, getting our preps all together. And since it's day 13, I was talking a lot about luck. I wanted to go over our superstitions at the casino. I've talked about this a little bit, but I just want to kind of sum it up. And I have a funny anecdote at the end. We're 13 days out, so I didn't want to talk anything about craps because it's like gonna be 7 days out, and I don't want to rear that ugly head of the seven. So, what are the superstitions at a table? We all know them, right? You don't say the word seven. You don't talk or put your hands in the table while you're throwing because it distracts the thrower. But for control throwers, all these things, the late buy-ins, the late bets, the sevens, they're all distractions, right? That you can't practice at home. There's nothing I can do here that can prepare me for a live session with people that don't know what they're doing. And as I said, I'm trying to be an ambassador. I'm trying to make sure everybody knows what they're doing. But the bottom line is when I'm there, just like everybody, we're trying to make money. We want to have a good time. And inevitably, changing our mojo at the table could be as simple as a whale showing up, dropping $1,000. We're at a casino one time, and this guy dropped uh, thousands of dollars on the table right in the middle of a guy's throw. And I might have talked about this before. We were watching, and this guy was doing really well, and he had 7, 8 throws in, and then this guy had to come in and he put like 10 grand down, and he got all black and purple chips, and then he's betting on all the hard ways, and this guy just got out of rhythm. And of course, he wasn't a control thrower, but there's a mojo to the table, and this guy was just breaking it up, and he didn't care. He obviously knew how to play the game very well, and that's what I never understand with anybody at the tables. When we're talking about how incredibly fickle a table can be, there's just some basic things you don't do. You don't buy in the middle. You don't put late bets down. You don't say the word seven. You don't talk to the dealer, to the thrower at the time they're throwing. You don't distract them. These are all common things. So it's always amazing to me when somebody comes to the table, and I could see if you're new and you're a rookie and you've never played the game before, and you come in, you buy him for $100, you're nervous about it. But like the jerk I talked about the other day, the whale that shows up and he just doesn't care that he's in the middle. His S doesn't stink, I guess. So he's just going to play whenever and whatever he wants. There's no courtesy to anybody else. And all of those things, you think that these players that have been playing for years, at the table the other day, this guy that I know comes to this casino all the time. And they're in the middle of a throw and he just drops some money right down and he starts talking. He knows the rules. And when he comes down, he goes, "Hey, put 100 on here, 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 and here." And you're like, why? Why do you just come in the middle? You know as well as everybody else how to do it. And it's just the mojo of the room goes right out the window. So at my casino, there's usually mojo out the window all the time because there's a person that comes in that doesn't know what they're doing. There's people that know absolutely what they should be doing, and they still come to the table and be annoying. So I know I talk about this a lot, but I've been going to a lot of live practice, and I'm just amazed that these guys that have been around forever, they know there's 3 or 4 simple rules and they just don't care. Or they care and they do it almost on purpose. They want everybody to recognize them. It's a narcissism that they have. What does this have to do with 13, bad luck, the 7? It all gets in your brain. So what do we do about it? How do we get this out of our brain so we're not pissed off about it? Because I swear, when you're a random thrower and the mojo's bad and you just throw, you know the 7's coming, you know it's a bad thing. That's it. But we talked about this the other day, and I swear, when we play on Sundays, our craps crew, we definitely realize that there is a energy that happens with crap control throwers. If something's bad happening and we are at the table, I talked about this. It's a micro millimeter of thing. If I'm shaking a little bit, or if I'm thinking, or I'm distracted, or I'm going to throw, and there's a late bet, and I jerk my hand because I see a hand come down, everything like that can throw you off. Remember, we're playing with micro millimeters of issue, and any one of these things can be distracting or can set it off. That's why people don't think that control throwers work, because there's so many factors involved. So how do we cut out that main issue of the unlucky 13, the saying of the 7, the buy-in, the chips late? Well, that's a mental game, and that's working on your visualization. And I have a video on visualization that I talked a lot about, but it really comes down to, you've got to prepare your mentalness, your mental game for just pushing through. So my buddies on Sunday, we have 2 different philosophies with this. Is we have our ambassador that constantly is chaotic, and he's constantly trying to distract us and pissing off us and that. And he's like, hey, you got to do that, because when we're at the table, it's not going to be any different. And he is absolutely right. His nuttiness and craziness and making stupid bets or just talking in the middle of the throw is really what we need, because we need to power through and push through that. So that's kind of the one philosophy. The other philosophy is, hey, let's just try and get through our throws on Sunday and try and get through it so we can see what we do in a perfect scenario. So we battle back and forth on that. We yell and fight and laugh our butts off, because we are always, we got a chaotic person over here that's just going to try and make our lives miserable. And it's almost on purpose, because we need to get through that. So when we get to the table, we can deal with people like the ambassador. So when we're talking about mental game, visualizing the throw, what you want to do, very important. Keeping calm, relaxing, and pushing through the throw, making sure your arm is doing the exact same thing. Now, 2 things can go on here. You can push through. We sometimes do that. We get distracted and we'll like power through, push through. But also, too, we could, in the middle of trying to push through, we call a thing called an Omaha. When we say Omaha, all of us get off our bets, because there's something in my brain. And it only takes that word. If that word 7 gets in there, the word 7 gets in my head, I'm going to throw a 7. So I don't want everybody losing their money. So if I feel weird about it, I'm going to go Omaha. And then I take all my bets off. And then I just be able to get here and power through. Maybe it takes 1 or 2 bets. Maybe we lose a little money, or we lost a profit because I have to get my mental game in place. Well, it's worth every penny if we do that. So if I ever feel a leak that I don't feel comfortable with the throw, I'll go Omaha, and then I'll call Omaha, and I'll just say, hey, I'm off all my bets, and then everybody else does this. So we talked about the one story that we had at a casino. I might have mentioned it in an earlier video, but it's funny as heck. We're sitting here, and I'm on a big roll. I'm in the 30s. We have a lot of money on the table. There's a gentleman at the end of my buddy at the end there playing, and they brought in money, changed everything. Then some girl shows up with a crumpled up $10 bill, throws it right on my landing zone, right over there. When she did that, and they're waiting to take the $10, and then she's like, I don't know what to bet, everything like that. I called off. I'm like Omaha, right? So the ambassador pulls off. The other two guys go, I'm off, I'm off, I'm off. And the guy at the end of him, he was like, what the heck is happening? What's going on? And then meanwhile, I'm throwing still, and he wasn't off, and he's like, oh my God, oh my God. It was so funny. He's like, how did all of these guys know to be off on when we were just saying I'm off, and then everybody was off. And he was dying. He was dying because he was still on. He had his money piled up, but I pushed through that. That was a lucky situation. I pushed through it, and then we went back on again. But he's like, dude, you got to tell me when you're going to be off. He was besides himself. And by the way, I got a 40-something throw on that. So we did a good job with that. But there's no reason you can't be off. So don't worry about if you just don't feel that this throw is not going to work, just be off. Take a couple throws, get yourself back in a mojo, and then come back in again. Or power through and just try and learn how to concentrate and deal with your ambassador being chaotic next to you on a routine basis. And hopefully that'll help you have that mental game that you need to move forward. So 13 days is an awesome time. I'm not going to worry about the number, but I am going to say if you practice and work on your mental game on a day-to-day basis, then I know that you can throw for a long, long time.